Jennifer was 42 years old, and for most people, she was exactly who she appeared to be. A strict history teacher at a small college. Calm. Serious. Controlled. Every morning, she wore neat clothes, tied her hair back, and walked into her classroom with steady steps. Her voice was firm. Her lessons were clear. Her students respected her, and some feared her a little. That was how she wanted it. In her world, order was safety. Distance was protection. No one knew that Jennifer lived alone in a quiet house far from the college. No one knew how silent her evenings were, how the walls held no laughter, no shared meals, no warm voices. After years of choosing work over people, discipline over desire, she had convinced herself that loneliness was simply the price of control. Then there was Scott. He was 21. He sat in the back row of her class, always quiet, always watching. Not staring in a rude way. Just watching. As if he was listening not only to her lectures, but to something unspoken beneath her words. At first, Jennifer ignored him. She told herself it was nothing. Students came and went every semester. She had taught hundreds. But Scott felt different, and that difference frightened her. Sometimes, when she turned to write on the board, she could feel his eyes on her back. Sometimes, when she asked a question, his answers were thoughtful, deeper than she expected. He never tried to impress her. He never crossed a line. That made it worse. Jennifer knew the rules. She knew the danger. She knew this feeling had no right to exist. Yet, every day, the attraction grew stronger. Not loud. Not reckless. Quiet and persistent. Like a thought she couldn't push away. At night, sitting alone in her house, she would replay moments from class in her mind. A brief look. A pause. The way Scott listened as if her words mattered more than just grades or exams. "This is wrong," she would whisper to herself. "He is your student. You are the adult. You must stop this." And she tried. She avoided his gaze. She ended lectures early. She kept her distance. But control is fragile when loneliness has been ignored for too long. One evening, after a long day of teaching, Jennifer drove home exhausted. She changed into simple clothes, made herself a cup of tea, and sat in the quiet living room. The clock showed 10 o'clock when she heard a knock at the door. Her heart froze. She already knew who it was. The relationship did not begin with a plan. It slipped into Jennifer's life quietly, like a shadow moving across a wall when no one is watching. After that first knock on her door, everything changed. Scott began coming at night, always late, always careful. He never used the front entrance for long. He learned the quiet path behind her house, the one hidden by tall hedges and old trees. No one could see him from the street. At the college, they became strangers. In class, Scott still sat in the back row. He never raised his hand. He never smiled at her. His eyes no longer followed her movements across the room. Jennifer noticed the distance, and it both relieved and hurt her. She became even stricter in class, speaking with a firm voice, never allowing her gaze to rest on him for more than a second. To everyone else, nothing had changed. But inside her house, everything was different. The moment the door closed, the world outside disappeared. There were no rules, no titles, no danger, only two people sitting close on a quiet sofa. Scott held her hand as if it were something precious. He listened when she spoke about her long days, her tiredness, the loneliness she never showed at work. No one had listened to her like that in years. Scott made her laugh. He spoke about his dreams, his fears, his plans for the future. With him, Jennifer did not feel like a strict teacher or a woman hiding behind control. She felt alive. She felt seen. And that feeling was terrifying. They promised each other silence. No messages at school. No accidental meetings. No questions. Love existed only behind closed doors. Jennifer knew every visit pushed her deeper into danger, yet she could not stop. The fear of losing Scott felt stronger than the fear of being discovered. One night, the rain came suddenly and heavily. Thunder shook the windows, and the streets filled with water. Scott stood by the door, his jacket wet, his hair damp. Usually, he left before midnight. Tonight, he could not. Jennifer knew what it meant if he stayed. The line they had tried not to cross was right in front of her. She looked at him. Tired. Young. Waiting. "Stay," she said softly. That night, they talked for hours. About childhood. About regrets. About a future they were not supposed to imagine. Scott looked into her eyes and said he loved her, without fear, without hesitation. Jennifer felt her heart break open. She knew it was dangerous. She knew it was wrong. But she also knew she had never felt more real. When morning came, the rain had stopped. And with the light of day, fear returned. Morning arrived too quickly. The rain from the night before was gone, leaving the air clear and bright, as if nothing dangerous had happened. But inside Jennifer's house, fear hung heavily in every corner. Scott stood by the back door, pulling on his jacket, his movements quiet and rushed. They spoke in low voices, afraid that even the walls might hear them. Jennifer's hands were shaking as she watched him. Just hours ago, the world outside had disappeared. Now it was back, sharp and unforgiving. She reminded Scott to take the narrow path behind the houses, the one with fewer windows, fewer eyes. He nodded, leaned in, and kissed her softly. Then he slipped outside. Jennifer walked to the window, her heart beating fast. She needed to know he was safe. She saw him crossing the garden, moving quickly toward the back street. That was when she froze. Across the fence, Mrs. Thompson was standing in her garden. She had a watering can in her hand, but she was not watering anything. Her eyes were fixed on Scott as he left. Slowly, her gaze shifted toward Jennifer's back door. In that moment, Jennifer knew. The secret was no longer hers. The rest of the day passed like a blur. Jennifer went through the motions, washing dishes, grading papers, but her mind was trapped in that single look of recognition. In the afternoon, there was a knock at the door. She didn't need to open it to know who it was. Mrs. Thompson stood straight, her face serious, her voice calm but firm. She didn't shout. She didn't accuse. That was worse. "I saw him this morning," she said. "He is one of your students. This is very serious, Jennifer. You could lose everything." Jennifer felt the words hit her like cold water. Her job. Her reputation. The life she had built over decades. When the door finally closed, Jennifer sank onto the sofa and cried, not from shame alone, but from the weight of the choice in front of her. That evening, she met Scott at the park. He was full of emotion, full of hope. "We can leave," he said. "We don't have to stay here. We can start over." Jennifer listened, tears in her eyes. She loved him, but she could see the truth clearly now. Running away would only destroy them both. "I can't," she said quietly. "Not like this. You need your future. And I need to stop before this ruins everything." Scott didn't argue. He held her, knowing this goodbye was real. Before he walked away, Jennifer whispered a promise she wasn't sure she could keep. "Finish your life. And if the world ever allows us, I will wait." As Scott disappeared into the trees, Jennifer stood alone, knowing she had chosen reason over desire, and that the cost would stay with her forever. Scott left the city at the end of that summer. There was no dramatic goodbye at the station, no long embrace under crying skies. They agreed it was safer that way. One last look, one last promise, and then he was gone. Jennifer watched his figure disappear into the crowd, carrying more than a suitcase, carrying a part of her she wasn't sure she would ever get back. The next morning, her life returned to routine. She stood in front of her classroom, chalk in hand, voice steady, posture controlled. To her students, she was the same strict history professor. Calm, distant, unchanged. No one could see the quiet ache beneath her professional mask. 5 years passed like slow-moving seasons. Jennifer continued teaching at the college. New students filled the seats each semester. Faces blurred together. But sometimes, when she looked toward the back row, her eyes paused for half a second too long. The seat where Scott once sat was never empty, yet it always felt unfinished. At home, the silence was louder than ever. Evenings stretched endlessly. She cooked for one, ate for one, slept alone in a bed that remembered warmth. On some nights, she reread old books without turning pages, lost in memories she couldn't share with anyone. On others, she sat by the window, watching the streetlights flicker on, wondering where Scott was and who he had become. They did not write. They did not call. That was part of the promise too. If they were going to wait, they would wait cleanly. No half-love, no secret messages, no reopening wounds. Still, Jennifer carried him quietly in everything she did. In the music she avoided. In the parks she no longer visited. In the questions she never answered out loud. There were moments when doubt crept in. Late at night, especially. Had Scott forgotten her? Had he grown up, fallen in love, chosen a simpler life with someone his own age? Was she holding onto a memory while he was building a future without her? Sometimes Jennifer asked herself the hardest question of all: was she waiting for Scott? Or was she afraid to begin again? She tried to imagine a different life. Dating someone her own age. Explaining her past. Letting another man see behind the walls she had built so carefully. Each time, fear stopped her. Waiting felt safer than risking another loss. Years went by quietly. Birthdays passed. Gray strands appeared in her hair. Jennifer learned how to live with absence, how to carry love without touch, how to survive on faith alone. Then one afternoon, as autumn light filled her living room, there was a knock at the door. Not loud. Not rushed. Just familiar. Jennifer's heart stopped. 5 years had passed quietly, without dramatic events or grand changes. Jennifer was 47 now. Her hair had a few more strands of gray, her face carried softer lines, but her eyes were steadier than before. She had learned how to live with silence. She taught her classes, graded papers, walked home alone, and spent her evenings reading or sitting by the window. Scott never left her thoughts, but she no longer chased the memory. She simply carried it with her. Some days, she wondered if she had waited for love or if she had waited because she was afraid to start again. She never had a clear answer. All she knew was that she had kept her promise. Then one quiet afternoon, when the light outside was soft and the street was almost empty, there was a knock at the front door. Jennifer froze. The sound was gentle, familiar in a way she could not explain. Her heart began to race as she walked toward the door. When she opened it, the world seemed to stop. Scott stood there. He was taller, broader, and calmer than the young man she remembered. His face was more mature, his eyes deeper. But when he looked at her, the same warmth was there. The same certainty. "Jennifer," he said softly, "I'm here." For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Scott stepped forward and pulled her into his arms. He kissed her, not in secret, not in fear, but openly in the light of day. Jennifer felt tears run down her face. This time, they were not tears of fear or guilt. They were tears of relief. "I kept my promise," Scott said. "I finished my studies. I built my life. And I never stopped thinking about you." Jennifer held his face in her hands. "I waited," she said. "But I was afraid too. Afraid that time would change everything." "It changed us," Scott replied. "But it didn't change what we felt." They talked for hours that afternoon. About the past. About the mistakes they had made. About the pain of hiding and the cost of waiting. Jennifer did not pretend they had done everything right. She knew their love had begun in the wrong place, at the wrong time. But she also knew this truth: what they felt had been real. Now there was no fear. No student and teacher. No secrets behind closed doors. Just two adults choosing each other freely. That evening, they walked through the neighborhood together. Hand in hand. People saw them. Jennifer did not look away. For the first time, love did not ask her to hide. Because real love is not about secrecy. Real love waits for the right time to stand in the light. If this story moved you, please like the video. Subscribe to continue learning English through emotional stories. And comment below, do you believe love can wait?